Good morning, good morning, good morning. We about to get started. We about to get started. Hope everybody's enjoying their morning so far. Happy Sunday. All right. Notifications are out. We are officially ready to start the show.
Bruh.
Welcome to the Wabbit Crime Network. We officially ready to start the show. All. Yeah, hit the like button if you haven't already. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Appreciate all the support and everybody that's coming out. We are about to get started with the Wabbit Crime content. Parole board hearings. Parole board hearings is what we're doing. All right. Shout out to the chat. Good morning. Good morning. We are here at the Wabbit Crime Network. We are here for another parole board hearing, watch along and reaction. We got some cases today. These are not going to be too long. Pretty short cases. Short and sweet. But before I do all that, let me give a shout out to all my members, all the people that got memberships on this channel. The chat is open today. I'm going to leave subscribers mode off for a little while, for now. Until I do my premieres. All right. Let me go to my studio. And shout out all my members. Let me see. Shout out to everybody with a membership. Dove C. Lit, Thick Cut, Yvonne May, Tora Hayes, Mad Max 250, Sonya B, Draco, Toby Kaiwu, Shorty XO, T, shout out to T, Lovey Star, Roll Rich ENT, Queen of Three, Egon Breeze Block, Nene Faye, Sugar Bear, Lucy, Fats TV, Bree, Top Monster Gaming, Sheila B, Miss Eve, 27 Durin, Thaddeus, It Is What It Is, J Dub, Katana, Dana Maria, D Grant, Alif CJ, Kobe Knowles, Distracted One, Gems Eye View, Long Live EA, Tesha Z's, Highly Favored, Uncle L, Go Getter, Relly Time TV, Sunrise 71, Steve 8, Trey Spectives, and Courtney Peach. Shout out to all the members, everybody that joined the membership on this channel. You are appreciated. And I want to say a good morning, happy Sunday to everybody that's watching. You are appreciated. Now, we are going over some court cases today. Court cases today. Now, we're going to get started right away. And if you want to support this channel, you can join a membership. That's definitely something you could do. You could send a super chat. You can send a donation through Wabbit Crime Network at PayPal or at Cash App. There's also a link at the top of the chat for the donation to donate through PayPal or through Streamlabs. Nightbot is also putting the link in the chat. So this is what we're doing. We are at a parole board hearing. We're watching parole board hearings where inmate is in front of a panel of judges at the parole board who's going to decide whether or not they will grant or deny them parole after an interview. Before the interview, before the judges vote, I will drop a poll in the chat for the audience to decide whether or not they think the judge will grant parole in this case. The poll will be in the chat for 3 minutes. And then I will end the poll and read the results. Then I will play the judges' results and see if the audience and the judges were in line. Do remember to join the Webber Discord. It's developing. And shout out to Courtney Peach. The Wabbit Discord is developing. The Wabbit Crime Network Discord is developing. And you're going to find information to a lot of different crime network stuff in the Wabbit Crime Discord. So follow-ups and updates to a lot of things that you're going to see on this channel, you can find in the Wabbit Crime Network Discord. So feel free to join the Wabbit Crime Network Discord. All right, so I will be in the chat until it's time to vote. So we have our first case. My Alexa just went off. She needs to stop that. So we are at our first case. You guys get your magnifying glasses ready. We got emojis. We got granted emojis. We got denied emojis. And we got the golden ticket emoji. I got space for more emojis. I just need some more ideas. I'm thinking if I should just do a Wabbit Crime Network emoji. Like you see the emoji that's the avatar that's at the bottom left of the screen. I was thinking to just do an emoji of that. I don't know. I'm still thinking. Crime theme stuff. But without any further ado, let's get this show on the road. Let's get this show on the road and let it go. A gavel. A gavel sounds interesting. A gavel sounds interesting. A gavel and definitely a magnifying glass. I was wondering if I should do a magnifying glass or I should leave the fact that they got the magnifying glass emoji. I'm wondering if I should do maybe a wabbit holding a magnifying glass like real big. Maybe something like what this avatar is, but with the magnifying glass way bigger to stand out, so that it's more of a magnifying glass emoji with just a rabbit holding it. Um, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out, man. I'm open to ideas though, definitely. So a gavel, gavel sounds interesting. I think I can do a gavel. Um, so all right, let's get to our first case. I want to thank everybody for pulling up. Your participation in these live streams is very much what makes it turn, what makes the wheels turn. So the participation is very much appreciated. So let's go.
Talking about the officers.
Is this only me?
Okay. All right. Thank you. Today's hearing will be a Zoom hearing. Today's date is June 11th, 2020. The time is 8:38 a.m. On the panel today to Mr. Alvin Roche and also Ms. Pearl Wise and myself, Jim Wise. I'll be chairing today. We're going to be hearing an interview that was done with Mr. Alvin Roche on a Chad Lightfoot DOC number 301162. Parole eligibility is 6/30/2019. And the date of the interview was 6/2/2020 at 1 p.m. by Mr. Alvin Roche. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Alvin Roche.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was unable to contact Orleans Parish, so the interview was never completed. So we're going to do a live hearing with Mr. Lightfoot on this morning. Mr. Lightfoot, would you please give your full name and your DOC number?
Yes, my name is Chad Avery Lightfoot. My DOC number is 301162.
Mr. Lightfoot, would you just lower your mask and lower your nose so we can, there you go. And give us your DOC number again.
DOC number is 301162.
Thank you, Mr. Lightfoot. My name is Alvin Roche. To the upper right of your screen is Pearl Wise and Mr. Jim Wise. Before I start my interview, I just want to let you know that I did get the letter from Pastor Shepherd, and I read that completely. And I did get the letter from your sister, Miss Monette. So I have read both of those letters in the time. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lightfoot, you're currently 48 years old, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you've been incarcerated for 3 years of a 7.5-year sentence, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And how long have you been at Orleans Parish Prison?
I've been here back and forth. I've been here back and forth the entire time of the length of incarceration.
Okay, and you there because you had a status hearing last Thursday, right?
Yes, sir.
And tell me exactly what happened at that status hearing.
At the status hearing, it was continued to till June of the
June 24th. June 24th.
Yeah, June 24th.
Yes.
Okay. Now, so that you still have pending charges at Orleans Criminal Court of perjury and offenses against the Louisiana Racketeering Act. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And in July of 2019, you also was convicted by a jury in the Western District of Louisiana U.S. Court, and you received a 71-month sentence. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that sentence is going to be enacted upon release from state incarceration. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
That sentence, the 71-month sentence in federal court, is going to be activated upon release from state custody.
Yes, sir.
So you have at least 5 years in federal prison because you have to serve at least 85% of that sentence. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. To my understanding, yes, sir.
Okay. And you still have pending charges in Orleans Parish.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let's go through your arrest record, Mr. Lightfoot. Mr. Lightfoot, started in 1990, you were arrested for armed robbery, second-degree kidnapping, and aggravated burglary. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
That was in Morgan City, Louisiana.
Yes, sir.
And you pled guilty and received a 22-year sentence. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
In 2004, you were arrested by the Louisiana State Police and charged with aggravated flight of an officer and traffic violations. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
205, identity theft, perjury, and theft. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, in 2005, it was what?
In 2005, in St. Mary's Parish, you were arrested for identity theft, forgery, and theft.
Yes, sir.
211 in Orleans Parish, domestic abuse battery.
Yes, sir.
In Canada, Louisiana, aggravated assault.
Yes,
That's about
sir.
right. Patterson, Louisiana, 3 counts of simple battery. Is that correct?
I don't recall that one,
Okay, 2013, you were in Patterson, Louisiana, and you were arrested on August 24th, 2013, and charged with 3 counts of simple battery.
Yes, sir.
And you're in jail right now for theft, insurance fraud, and perjury. Is that correct? You're in jail right now for theft, insurance fraud, and perjury. Is that correct?
No, sir.
Okay, those charges were not all processed.
Yes, sir. They were all dismissed.
Okay. Now, in Franklin, Louisiana, simple battery. You're in jail right now for bank fraud, monetary abuse of an instrument, and identity theft. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you have pending charges in Orleans Parish right now for offenses against the Racketeering Act and for perjury. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Would you say you have a very extensive criminal background?
Yes, sir.
So tell me why this panel should release you from incarceration when you have pending charges in Orleans Parish and you have this extensive criminal background.
Well, sir, I do understand that I do have an extensive arrest history. However, on most of those charges, that's all they resulted to was an arrest. I wasn't convicted of
Right.
a majority of the things that you called out. I served a long time on parole, and because of my parole status, at the time the allegations were brought up, which, you know, and because of my initial conviction back in 1990, most of the time it would result into me being arrested. However, like I said, you know, I would most of the time be released after they investigate the situation. And like I say, all it would do is result to an arrest, but most of the time I was released.
Okay, now,
incarceration.
okay, I understand exactly what you said, and you've all been convicted of 2 felonies in Louisiana.
That's correct.
Okay, what happened to a conviction by a jury of your peers in 2019 for fraud?
You asked me what happened?
No, I said, what about you were convicted by a jury of your peers of fraud? Is that correct?
Yes, I went to trial in Monroe, Louisiana, and I was found guilty of a FEMA fraud.
Okay, were you guilty?
Yes.
Okay. And now you have other charges in Orleans Parish against the Louisiana Racketeering Act and perjury.
Yes, sir.
Do you plan to go to trial on those charges?
Yes, sir. Those charges have been pending for the last 64 months. I was initially arrested back in January of 2015. And like I said, it's been pending for over 64 months. I have repeatedly tried to get the Orleans Parish District Attorney's Office to afford me a trial in regards to those allegations. But to, you know, up to date, we've been unsuccessful in that event. And right now, I'm just waiting for, you know, to actually have my day in court in that situation.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Pearl Wise, do you have any questions?
I just want to state on the record, sir, that we did receive a letter from the Orleans Parish District Attorney's Office, and they are opposed to your early release. They cited 3 reasons: due to your extensive criminal history, your federal conviction, and your pending case in Orleans Parish Court as their reason for their being opposed to your early release. And that's all I wanted to put on the record. I have no questions.
Mr. Wise, you're muted.
I don't have any question. Mr. Lightfoot, is there anything you'd like to say before Mr. Roche gives his vote?
Yes, sir. I would like to explain to the board or let the board know that the offenses to which I'm accused of, I haven't committed a violent act against anyone. The situation to which I do stand charged and convicted of, it didn't involve any person or whatever besides myself. There was no harm convicted. No harm imposed on anyone besides myself. I do have 4 young children out there that were dependent upon my support for financially and things of that nature. You know, I can assure this board that I'll do my best as a parolee, should I be granted parole, to conduct myself in a fashion that society would expect me to conduct myself in. I truly apologize that I haven't been able to participate in any programs that would have brought about a favorable decision from the board to work in my favor. However, there were no programs offered because of my present state of incarceration in this facility, which there are no programs offered. I would like to ask the board to look at the fact that I did, that I served time on parole before, and I completed 10 years of parole without a violation. I was arrested during the course of that time, but like I said, I did complete it with no violation whatsoever. And I think that if given a chance, I can show this board that, I can conduct myself in an orderly fashion. I was released once before from prison, and like I said, I served extension. Matter of fact, I served 10 years on parole, and I conducted myself accordingly. Even after parole, even after being excused from parole, I remained in good standing for quite a while, and I'd ask the board to please take that into consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Lightfoot.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
ready to
Thank you
vote?
very much. At this time, Mr. Alvin Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Lightfoot. Mr. Lightfoot. Wabbits, are you ready to vote? All right, Wabbits. We got 3 minutes. We got 3 minutes to vote. Get your votes in. Now, I listened to his closing argument, and I said 10 years, no 10 years, no violations. How you get all these charges then? How you get all these arrests? Why are you involved in so much stuff? 10 years? You was with no violations. So how all this other stuff happened? When did you do all this other stuff? Yeah, I don't know if he's learned his lesson, because if you was on parole for 10 years, whatever you did to get you on parole for 10 years, you still doing crime after that? You still doing crime after that? So much different crime though. So much different crime. Like, this man is versatile in crimes. He don't stick to one kind. He does all different kinds. How do you get arrested for so much different stuff? What are you doing? Why are you involved in these situations where you getting arrested like this while on parole? While on parole. Like, no. It don't look too good. It doesn't look good. Criminal mind. And look at his age. Like, my man, what are you involved in for real? What are you doing on these streets that you gotta... Career criminals, man. Career criminals. So we got 45 seconds left to vote. I want to thank everybody for their participation. We're building this page. We're building the audience. As we know, I got my core audience, but we're building this page because we're encouraging new audience members to find this content, that are interested in this type of content, so that they have a place to find this type of content. And hopefully they actually like the personality of the content creator, so they'll decide to view this content on my channel. So we are in the building process. All right. The time is up. I'm going to end the poll. Gonna end the poll. We got 18 votes. Will the judges grant parole in this case? 94% of the voters said no, and 5% said yes. So majority thinks he's not getting it. So let's see how it goes. Judges?
Shay will be giving his vote.
Thank you, Mr. Wise. Mr. Lightfoot, you have some very special circumstances. You're incarcerated in Louisiana. You have a conviction only 11 months ago in the Western District of Louisiana for fraud. You are waiting a 71-month federal sentence after this incarceration. You have pending charges in Orleans Criminal District Court. You have an extensive criminal history. You have a federal detainer, which was issued in August of 2019. You have law enforcement opposition. You have very strong opposition from the DA's office. And there's a lack of programs. For those reasons, my vote is to deny your request.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, Ms. Pearl Wise.
My vote is to deny as well for the reasons that already been stated on the record. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Also, I vote to deny because of the reasons stated. Sir, today you've been denied. Is that our last case there at Orleans Parish today?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that'll conclude our hearings. It's 9:08 a.m. I want to thank each and every one from Orleans Parish.
All right, that concludes that one. That was pretty cut and dry. They didn't even want to talk. They ain't had no questions. They ain't even had no questions. You knew it was a problem. They ain't want to ask this guy nothing. They didn't have a question for this guy, man. All right, we're about to be on to our next one. If you want to support this page, you can join a membership. You can hit the super chat. You can send a donation through Cash App or PayPal at Wabbit Crime Network. You can also hit the donation link at the top of the screen, at the top of the chat. Hopefully it's working. Hopefully the link is working. I don't know. It's been acting up lately. But moving on. Also, join the Wabbit Crime Network Discord. Join the Wabbit Crime Network Discord for updates and more crime content. So we are at a parole board hearing. Inmate is up for parole, and judges will interview them and then decide whether or not they will grant parole. Before the judges vote, I will put a poll in the chat. The poll will be up for 3 minutes, and I will let the audience vote on whether or not they think the judges will grant parole in this case. After the 3 minutes is up, I would read the results, and then I will play the judges' results and see if the audience was in line with the judges. Until then, I will be in the chat with everyone. So get your magnifying glass ready. I'll be back when the judges are ready to vote. Until then, I'll be congregating in the chat. All right, we are at our next case.
Okay, thank y'all very much. At this time, we're going to be conducting the hearing. Sir, if you would, state your name for the record.
Norwood Sutton,
DOC number.
35-43-73.
Okay, thank you, sir. You are a first offender manslaughter, 2 counts, and you were sentenced on 5/15/1995 for for 30 years hard labor on each count to run consecutively. The parole date is 4/15/2014 with a good time not eligible and full term of 4/23/2054. Also today we have,
Mr. Wise.
yes, sir.
Okay, so you want to tell you who we have here for this hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
We have in opposition, we have the DA, Assistant DA from the 24th JDC, Randy Meyer. We have the victim's mother, Miss Mary Green. She would like to speak in opposition this morning. We have the victim's sister, Miss Juwania Williams, also here in opposition. And their names are on the screen, so you'll be able to see who's who here. And then we have 3 people here in support. We have Miss Unica Oob, who is a friend. We have Zakia Clement, who is the sister of the offender, and she will be speaking this morning. And then we have Warren Bernard, who is a brother, also in support.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Lynn. At this time, I'd like to introduce the board members today. Ms. Pearl Wise and Mr. Alvin Roche will be sitting on the board. My name is Jim Wise. I'll be chairing. I was assigned this case today, so I'll be asking some questions. Today is a rehearing. You had a hearing back in 2017, which you were denied on that hearing. Today, you could come before a new hearing. One of the things that I wanted to ask you about that I was a little confused over, you had a disciplinary write-up back in okay, you had a disciplinary on 7/25/2019. What was that disciplinary for?
I'm trying to figure, I don't remember receiving any disciplinary write-up, sir.
On 7/25/19, you was at St. Charles and you had a disciplinary write-up. Then you got transferred to Riverbend Detention Center on 7/26/2019.
Yes, sir. I never received a write-up, sir. I never been in front of disciplinary board. I never received a write-up or anything.
And then you went to LaFosse Transitional Work Program on 11/18/19. And then you was back in custody on 1/14/20 at LaFosse Parish. What did you go to a transitional work program?
Yes, sir.
What was you doing in the work program?
I was working for BJ Martin offshore company.
All right. Well, why did they move you in January 14/20?
It had to be from a incident that I was transferred from. I was in St. John. I never was in St. Charles.
Okay. Why did they take you out of the transitional work program?
Because of a conspiracy to introduce contraband. Only conspiracy. I was shook down. I never was found with possession or anything like that, sir.
But you was removed out of the transitional work program.
Yes, sir. Because of I got rearrested in St. John for that, and that's why. And the warrant came up, and that's why I was kicked out of work release.
Okay. Warden Hooper, can you enlighten us on any of that?
There's no disciplinary write-up in his record besides the one in 7/28/2010. We have no.
Okay. All right. Well, Mr. Sutton, what programs have you taken since you've been incarcerated?
I took several programs, sir. I took 2 substance abuse treatment programs. I took risk management phase 1 and 2. I took living in balance and cage array. I took parenting. I took reducing anger feelings, and several Bible study programs also, sir.
Yes, sir. During the time,
I I've acquired welding skills and culinary skills also during my incarceration.
Yes, sir. During the time of your incarceration, wonder why you was moved around a lot. You had to go from one place to another. You was over at St. Charles, and then you moved to another place, and then you just kept moving. Why was the reason for the movement so much?
Like I say, it wasn't because of disciplinary, because I never received any types of write-ups or anything. But like if a jail get crowded, they'll just rotate you around, sir.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Sutton, I was looking at some of your charges there. What was the reason for this right here, this incident right here with manslaughter? Just give me something brief.
It was a drug related crime, sir.
Well, what happened?
It was a drug related crime, and it was three of us on this charge. I got the longest sentence, and we passed words with each other, and things just got out of hand, sir. I was 17 years old at the time.
Okay. Mr. Sutton, I just want to let you know there's some opposition against your release.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Excuse me.
Law enforcement and victims opposition is on your release. But one of the things that now you mean to tell me they had you working offshore and they taken you from offshore, and did you say they filed a charge on you?
Yes, sir.
What was the charge they put on you?
It was supposed to be a conspiracy charge.
Who charged you for it?
It was supposed to come from St. John.
And we do have a subpoena for him to appear in St. John the Baptist on July 1st, 2020 at 9 a.m.
You have a pending charge? Is it on the pending charge of
It looks like it, but it don't say nothing about a pending charge. It says to appear and or testify. So they may be using it for a witness. It don't say.
Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions.
Yeah, it looks like the charges are gonna be against him. It's state versus him. So yeah, it's gonna be new charges pending.
All right. You know, you have a pending charge here in July coming up here. There's at this time, I'm gonna let Miss Pearl Wise ask you some questions.
Mr. Sutton, good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Wise.
I just want to remind you that on the last hearing of 2017, I was the only one that voted for you. So I'm disappointed about the write-ups and the new charges.
I don't have no write-ups, Ms. Wise.
But you're right. I take that back. There were indications of disciplinaries in the file, but the warden has cleared. You've had no write-ups since July 28th of 2010. That's correct.
Yes,
but your involvement that resulted in a conspiracy matter, that's disappointing, and that's concerning to me. And I just wanted to state that.
Yes, ma'am. And it's just, I wasn't participating in any of that. They want to use me as a witness to testify against the two guys that was actually caught with the with the marijuana, ma'am.
Wow. All I can do is urge you to write back when all that is cleared up, depending on how this goes today.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all I had. It sounds unfortunate. That's all I had, Chairman.
At this time, Mr. Alvin Roche will be asking you some questions.
Mr. Chairman, I have no questions.
Okay. At this time, I see you have some support. who would like to speak for him in support?
Ms. Clement will be speaking on his support as for him.
Okay, Ms. Clement.
Yes, good morning.
Okay, you speak to the board. Anything you have to say, be sure it's said directly to the board members.
Okay, this is, my name is Zykia Clement. I'm a little bit nervous this morning. I'm sorry, I'm a little shaky. But I am Norwood's younger sister. My mother has 3 kids, 2 boys, 1 girl. Norwood is the oldest of 3. And the first thing I want to do is give my condolences to the family, because we have been on the other side of the table. So we understand what the family is going through, the grief of the family. My mom was murdered in 2008. So I know the hurt that this family has been through and the grieving of this families, because it's 2 families. And, you know, he's a great person. He has one of the biggest hearts I know. And I, you know, when they were boys and they're teenagers and they're engaging in all these different activities, the parents don't know their whereabouts. They commit these crimes, and they're boys. They don't know. And I do believe that people can change, you know, after serving so many years incarcerated, like mentally, you have to change, you know. Norwood has never been in no trouble before. He was not a problem child. You know, he was raised by a single mother, you know, with an absent father. What these kids need, they need an active dad. They need their fathers. He was fatherless. That's no excuse though. But I do feel the pain that this family is feeling. And I know the years have passed and things, you know, go on and you try to cope with it, but trust me, I understand the pain. I lost my mama to this type of crime, this type of violence. Like, I really feel like if he gets a second chance, he's gonna make an impact with the new generation that's coming up. These young kids need guidance, and I feel like Norwood is a perfect role model to demonstrate just being back into society after being young and being locked up and coming out and just sharing his story with other boys. Like, him being incarcerated, he can save a lot of lives out here today. We want to really focus on his future. He has abundance of support over here on this end. He has aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, friends, everything over here. We are working with him. Trust me. I have a brother. He's been in the Marines 20 plus years. We know he knows about structure and discipline and how to be a man. He leaves this country every day. And he has jobs lined up already for him if he is released into society. We have jobs lined up for him. We have pastors. My pastor, my church members are here today at my house this morning just to support him through this Zoom call. We have my brother on the line. We also have my grandmother. She couldn't be here because she's in the hospital. She's been diagnosed with the coronavirus. So, like, I know how it is to have someone taken that you love, you know, and it's like the other family, we haven't met with one family, but we met with one other family because we grew up with some of the kids, me and my brother. And we have become close with this family. We talk to this family on a daily basis. This family knows me and my brother, where we come from and what we done been through, just dealing with this tragedy. On top of my mother being killed in 2008, me and this family and my brother have become really close. They wanted to be here today to support him. I have letters from their family, from their sisters, from their brothers, from their mom, saying that they would accept him coming into society, you know, and we're going to support, we're going to do what we have to do to make sure he's a productive citizen. I believe in my heart as his sister, I believe he has changed. He is a whole different person from when he went in all of those years ago. And that's just, you know, my side of it. And I just hope that, you know, we can all come to some type of agreement, you know, in a positive way to, you know, see this through, hopefully, you know, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, ma'am, thank you very much. At this time, Ms. Green will be the victim, be speaking. Dave, you would unmute your mic and speak to the board. Anything you have to say, speak directly to the board. Thank you very much. Unmute your mic. Ma'am, unmute your mic. Ma'am, unmute your mic. Unmute your mic. We can't hear you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm very new to
Thank
this.
you very much. I can hear you now. The board can hear you.
But board, I have listened to Mr. Norwood speak on his personal behalf. I've also listened to the sister. And I'm sorry. And I'm really lost for words because there seemed to be an ongoing drug-related issue here, and that's where it started. So I'm concerned as to where is it going to end. I keep getting a blank picture, so I'm not sure if I'm still on the screen.
Yes, ma'am. We can see you and we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, it's fine. Okay, thank you. But again, you know, I hear Mr. Sutton, and I know the beginning started with drugs, and it seemed to be after what, 26 years, 25, 26 years, that he's still going through the very same, which is a concern of mine. He's still participating, and whether it's cover up or what with drugs, but yes, he's still, you know, he's still involved in it. As for the testimony or the statement from his sister, I understand that they feel like he has been reformed. I cannot say whether he's been reformed because I haven't been there. All I can say is that we, as victims, did not place him there, did not make the choice or the decision for him to do what he did. And as a result, he was sentenced by the judge, who we feel like, hey, it's out of our hands. But personally, I'm not sure if he's been reformed because, you know, of his recent drug involvement. I sympathize with the mother, the sister, with concerning her mother. I too have been in touch with the other victims' family. The mother of Donald Jenkins is not pleased with his coming home. The sister is not pleased with his coming home. So who gave her information? I'm not certain because I have spoken to them as recent as today, that they are not pleased with him coming home. They don't feel like he has been reformed or he's paid for the crime. So that's basically it. You know, I don't have much to try and cover. The thing is, I would like to, you know, to say that it's out of our hands. It's left up to the board, which is the judge and the court system.
Tell her something.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much. You would mute your mic. At this time, we'll hear from Mr. Randall Meyer.
Good morning. Are y'all able to see and hear me? Normally I see my picture.
Yes, sir. We can hear you good, Mr. Myers.
Okay, Randy Meyer, Assistant DA, Jefferson Parish. And we're opposed to Mr. Sutton's release. While the hearing's been going on, I did confirm with St. John the Baptist Parish that there are pending charges concerning Mr. Sutton. In this case, he used a firearm in a drug transaction, which I've always got an issue with because what happened here is what tends to happen. Two people got shot and killed. I spoke with the Jenkins family, which is the other individual who was murdered. They did not want to relive the incident again, and so they did not want to participate, but they wanted me to express their opposition to his parole also. So those reasons we remain opposed to his request, particularly the pending charges that he's had, which kicked him out of work release.
Okay, thank you very much. Warden Hoopers, anything you have to say to the board?
No, we good.
Okay. Mr. Sutton, if you would, anything you'd like to say before the board makes a decision? This will be your final statement. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. First and foremost, sir, I'd like to tell Ms. Mary Green that I'm sorry for taking her son's life. And I just want to ask her, could she just forgive me, sir? Because like my sister said, my mother was killed also. My mother fiance shot her 3 times. And I learned in life, if I want forgiveness, I got to be able to forgive. And I'm just speaking and asking Ms. Green, would she please forgive me for the crime I committed and for the stress and pain I put towards her family, sir?
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. At this time, the board will be voting. I'll vote.
All right. At this time, the Wabbits will be voting. Welcome to the Wabbit Crime Network. Everybody involved in wabbitry. I'm going to start the poll. Will the judges grant parole in this case? Let's go. This is an interesting one. There was so much going for this guy as far as he's been down for a while, and they probably would have gave him a chance. They probably would have gave him a chance with strict supervision to see if he has learned his lesson. He was definitely headed to that direction, but he has pending charges, and these pending charges is drug related. And it was a drug related crime that caused him to murder someone and end up in jail. So after all this time, dealing with drugs or being involved in drugs got you in a situation where you end up murdering someone, and now you're in jail for all this time. And while you're in jail, you get involved in something drug related. Don't look good. It don't look good. And the problem with that is, after all these years, you just recently got involved in a drug related incident in the jail. You just messed up. It shows that after all these years, somehow you still associate or involved with people that's dealing with drugs, or you are involved with dealing with drugs yourself. And that's the last thing you want to be associated with if that's the reason why you're in jail. You have to show some form of rehabilitation. And that means that if anybody is doing anything like that, that is the last people or place you want to be around. And he hasn't shown that he has learned that, because they got him involved in possibly being a witness, but they arrested him. They wouldn't have arrested him if he was cooperating, or he had went and told what happened. So basically, if he had snitched earlier, he probably would have got off. But he got arrested, so I'm not even sure if they're gonna consider any of that he said. They might just think he's involved. We got 5 seconds left. I'm gonna end the poll. All right. Time is up. Time to end the poll. All right. We got 21 votes. Will the judges grant parole in this case? 95% of the voters said no, and 4% said yes. So I guess that's one person that said yes. So let's see where it's at. Judges, what is your decision?
First, because this was my case here today, I'm going to be voting to deny your parole. One of the reasons I'm voting to deny, because you were removed from the transitional work program. You got pending charges in July at St. John Parish. Also, strong victims opposition, strong district attorney's opposition, and law enforcement opposition for your release. Today, I vote to deny. At this time, Ms. Pearl Wise will be voting.
Mr. Sutton, I concur with my colleague today. My vote is denied for the reasons that's already been outlined on the record. I encourage you to write back whenever you're eligible.
Mr. Alvin Roche. Unmute your mic, Mr. Roche.
Thank you, Mr. Wise. Before I vote, I'd like to tell Mr. Norwood and Ms. Clemens, I'm very sorry about your mother, and I send best wishes to your grandmother on her recovery. My vote is to deny, and basically for the same reasons mentioned by Mr. Wise.
Okay. Today, that'll conclude the hearing. Mr. Sutton, you have been denied on the reasons stated. And thank each and every one that participated today in this Zoom hearing. Thank you.
Yeah, that didn't work out for you there, buddy. Well, unfortunately for him, that did not work out. That did not work out. All right, we're moving on. We are moving on. Good job to the audience. Majority of you were in line. Pretty much everybody was in line except for, I think, one person with the judges. So, good job. Now, if you want to support this channel, you can hit the super chat. You can join a membership. You can send a donation through Cash App or PayPal at Wabbit Crime Network. You can also hit the donation link at the top. And Nightbot is putting a direct link to the PayPal in the chat. We are at a parole board hearing. Inmate is up for parole. He's going to be interviewed, and then the judges will vote on whether or not they decide to grant or deny parole. Before the judges vote, I will pause the video and drop a poll in the chat for 3 minutes and give the audience a chance to vote on will they think the judges grant parole in this case or deny parole. Then I will end the poll and read the results. Then I will play the judges' results and see if the audience was in line with the judges. I will be in the chat until then. I will be back when it's time to vote. So let's go.
Okay, is everyone there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Wise, this is the case for Aaron Kozabon, DOC number 516816. We do have one participant here. He is in support, Eric Kozabon. He's a father, and he'll be speaking on behalf of Aaron.
Okay, thank you very much, Teresa. At this time, sir, we'll be getting started. If you would, state your name and DOC number.
Aaron Casabon, 516816.
You are a third offender, theft, possession of stolen things, simple murder, and habit dwelling, habitual offender, and contraband, and cruelty to juveniles. You were sentenced on 2/24/2011, 2/24/2011, 5/31/2011, and you were sentenced in Jefferson, 6 years, 8 months, 6 years, 8 months, hard labor, 12 years hard labor, and 1 year hard labor. Your parole date is 7/30/2017. You had a good time on 9/3/2022. You have a full term date on 8/23/2023. Also, I see your stepfather's here today, and we'll give you a chance to speak when the time is appropriate. At this time, my name is Jim Wise. I'll be chairing today. Also, Mr. Alvin Roche is on the board to be asking some questions. And Miss Pearl Wise was assigned to your case, and she's one of the board members. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Miss Pearl Wise.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How's it going?
Great.
Good, good. It's your second time before the board, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You would, I'm just gonna call out for the record, you were denied on 12/21/18 because you had some of the reasons were you were convicted of a contraband charge 2/5/18. You had law enforcement opposition, you had lack of programs, and you had a high learner score. Is that what you remember?
Yes, ma'am.
And then on October the 16th of 2019, 3 members of this panel voted yes for a rehearing. And so you are set for today for a rehearing. I do know that you completed the Blue Walters program on May 14 of 19. Tell me the top 3 things you learned at Blue Walters.
I learned how not to use drugs. I've learned to conduct with positive people. And I've learned how to not be around negative people. They taught you how to not socialize with drug addicts, and if you have a problem with drugs, who to like contact a sponsor or a counselor or a member, stuff like in that area.
Okay, what about AA and NA meetings? What did they say about that?
They teach you the steps of, you know, drinking and using drugs. You know, they teach you some stuff about the Bible.
Okay, all right. What was your drug of choice?
Heroin.
What age did you start using?
17.
Okay, all right. That's pretty young. That is pretty young. Let me tell you what really concerns me. And of course, this is history, and there's nothing you can do about it. But your parole closed on July 5th of 2010. Your new offense date, July 23rd of 2010. Another offense date, 8/2 of 2010. And they had another one of June 18th of 2010 that you hadn't been arrested on, but it was discovered that was the date the offense occurred. So tell me, how can I expect you to do bail on supervision this time?
Throughout the years of my incarceration, being incarcerated 10 years, you know, and putting my family through all the pain and grief, and seeing guys come to prison with bigger time than me, life sentences, 60 years. You know, I've learned off of other people that I don't want that. I don't want that in my life. You know, it's been a long journey for me, and I made a mistake. And when I got denied parole last time in December 21st, 18, I immediately went to the Blue Walters program within a month after that, because I knew that I'm not going to let the decision take who I am. You know, I made a mistake, and yes, it was a very dumb mistake. And since then, I've just been walking a straight path.
So tell us, when was your last write-up?
October 2017.
What was that for?
Contraband.
Oh, that's the one that resulted in the conviction?
Yes, ma'am. I got my last write-up was in October 2017, and I got convicted on that write-up in 2018.
Okay. All right. That's what the record shows. And I'm showing you've had 11 write-ups in 10 years. Or about 12, or maybe 12 write-ups in 10 years. What was you, do you know the count?
That's about right.
Yeah, about one a year. I do want to inform you on the cruelty to juvenile matter, probation parole was unable to reach their mother. So we don't have her opinion about early release. I do want to inform you that the DA's office is very much opposed. I'm going to read to you, and there's nothing you can do about this, but I want you to be informed of it. It says, offender has a significant criminal history, including cruelty to juvenile and second-degree battery, burglary of an inhabited dwelling. So they oppose, and you had sentences in various jurisdictions. So you had 3 sheriff's offices that chimed in on this, and all 3 oppose. Again, I'm just informing you. There's nothing you can do about this, but that's information that we have to reach our decision. And I'm showing that you were revoked on parole. Again, this is your history because of heroin use, but you are saying today that you are clean and sober, and you have the tools you need to stay clean and sober. Is that what you're saying today?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you're successful, where would you live and how would you support yourself?
I would live with my father and work under his construction company.
Okay. And again, how would you stay clean and sober?
Being around nothing but positive people and just hanging around with family instead of choosing friends. Counseling, church, AA meetings.
Thank you, Warden, for helping him out.
He told me that earlier.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm nervous.
Yes, sir. He's nervous. I understand. All right,
nervous.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You want to go ahead and give us your report at this time, Warden? On what do you have on it?
Yeah, basically he's a low risk factor. He is a trustee here. He just came back to us in January. When
okay.
he was in reception, and I moved him into in January. He works every day. He works at the warehouse. He even cuts grass on the side. And if he did, looking at his past history, he has a lot of contrabands, from his early on. He 14, 15, he got 3 contrabands, well, 5 contrabands in 15. So he has the opportunity to get the drugs in prison, looked like early on. And since he's completed the Blue Walters program, it looks like he has set his focus on doing right and staying sober.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Warden. That's all I had, Chairman.
This time, Mr. Roche, unmute your mic and anything you'd like to say to the board.
Mr. Chairman, I have no questions of Mr. Casamon.
Okay. At this time, Mr. Casamon, now I know Ms. Pearl went over this, but you completed, and I may have missed it, you completed your Blue Waters program on 5/13 and 19. Is that correct?
I think it was 5/14. I think I completed
Okay. All right, I just want to make sure you got it all completed there. And this time, I see the father, Mr. Casamon, and Mr. Eric Casamon. If you would unmute your mic and anything you'd like to say to the board. Mr. Casamon, can you hear me? If you would unmute your mic.
Okay,
Unmute
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, all right. I would just like to say that I think the boy has really changed his life around just from dealing with him the last 10 years through visitation and on the telephone.
Sir, if you would unmute your mic and speak again.
Okay. Something happened. The thing went out. The whole system had went down.
Okay, well, sorry for the inconvenience, but go ahead and we got part of it.
All right. What I was saying is, I've noticed a big change in the last couple of years, and I truly believe that he may have made his mind up to do right, because he did have opportunities in the penal system to get drugs, to be around drugs. I know in the first probably 5 years, he probably was involved in a lot of drugs and a lot of foolishness. And I've spoken to people at different facilities who I still stay in contact with, and they've told me themselves, they said, man, he really made a change. And when I have another inmate contact me and tell me your son is really making a change for the better, then I kind of tend to believe him sometimes. You know, sometimes you don't want to believe a lot of things you hear in prison, but the last couple of places he's been, I've still gotten phone calls and stuff from these guys saying, man, I hope everything works for him. He's really changed his life around, and he's really doing well. And I would love to have him back home because I'm getting old. I'm 58. My mom's 85. She's quarantined. We need help. And I think that he can pay some of the inconvenience he's put us through over the years. We have to pay for phones and food. So I'm hoping he can get out and maybe repeat his debt to society and to us before we not around to experience it.
Yes.
Now he does have a place to stay. I have a construction company and I have a contract with in Baton Rouge with FEMA. We do all the flood work. So I've turned down work in the last few months just because I can't do it alone. I really need help, but I do have contracts with FEMA and have been doing flood work for about 10 years now. And I know he's not allowed to leave the state, but we do have a lot of work in Baton Rouge. I was in Houston for a year and a half. We have work in Houston, but we also have a lot of work in Monroe and in Baton Rouge also, doing contracting work every day, 7 days a week. So he will be gainfully employed and able to pay his fees and fines and whatever else he has to pay.
We appreciate that, Mr. Barbon. At this time, Aaron, if you would, anything you'd like to say to the board before we vote?
I would just like to say that I believe that I should be granted parole, and I believe that y'all will grant me parole off my past into what I've done now.
All right. Thank you very much. We're going to start off voting.
All right. Thank you very much. We're going to start off voting. Yeah. This one is good. All right. The vote is in the chat. Time has started. I'm convinced that the judges will grant this man parole in this case. He knows that he's been doing right, and he's been trying to change. And I think he understands that the judges understand that he has been trying to change, and it's looking positive for him. It looks positive for him, in my opinion. Hey, I could be wrong, but in my opinion, I think he's going to get granted parole. He's been down for 10 years. I listened to his statement. I listened to his father's statement. I listened to Miss Pearl Wise. Uh, you know, there was opposition. Definitely the warden's approval for sure has something to do with it. I agree. Um, yeah, I mean it's looking good. He's a trustee, cuts grass on the side. You know, listen to the things that they're saying, and I don't see there is no victim here to speak against him to kind of sway the decision. You know, maybe if they feel his arrogance towards the end, maybe that could kind of sway them to, you know, to change their decision. But why? Why would they want to do that? His arrogance wasn't really over the top. It was more confidence, and he was in he had positive expectations, and it's almost like he felt the vibe. That's what compelled him to say that he thinks they're gonna let him go. You know what I mean? He believes in himself. He believes in himself. He believes at this moment that he is able to do it, and he believes that he has convinced them. So, you know, I appreciate his confidence, and it might persuade them to think that, you know what, this guy might do the right thing when he gets up. You know, so we got 5 seconds left. We got to end the poll. All right. So poll is ended. All right, we got 22 votes. Will the judges grant parole in this case? 63% said yes, 36% said no. Majority of people think it's gonna get yes. Some people think it's gonna be no. I mean, anything's possible. Anything's possible, but I'm with the people that think it's gonna be yes. So let's see what the judges say.
Well, Miss Pearl Wise.
All right, young man. I am impressed with your record. Like the warden said, in 14 and 15, until you got that conviction for contraband, you didn't stop. I think that finally got your attention, and your DB records reflect your talk, and I like that when they line up. So I'm gonna take a chance on you today. My vote is to grant. Because of the good programs, you've completed Blue Walters, the warden's comments, you have a low Tiger score. And again, we have lack of the victim participation, so we don't know their opinion. Special conditions, I want you to attend 3 AANA meetings a week. If possible, I want at least 1 or 2 of those meetings on the weekend. You attend the AANA on the weekend. Community service of 4 hours a month. I know your dad gonna have you busy, but if 1 month you can't do community service, the next month you do 8 hours. You find some way to do something for somebody. I want probation parole to do random drug screens, and that for the first 4 weeks that you're out, I want you to report weekly to probation and parole. Your father is your boss, so you should be able to get off when you need to meet your probation parole obligations. That is my vote, sir. I wish you well.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Roche.
Mr. Casabon, I was on the panel last time, and I voted tonight. I see a tremendous difference in this young man this morning. So I'm going to agree with Ms. Wise. I'm going to vote to grant under the same conditions mentioned by Ms. Wise. Good luck and stay out of jail.
Yes, sir.
Okay, at this time, Aaron, I'm gonna be voting. My vote is to grant you parole. You got good programs. You finished the Blue Waters, and I'm impressed over that. Also, the warden's comments and the family support. Your dad's here speaking for you. Good family support. Let me tell you something. You stick with your dad, son. All them little dope heads that was out there that you was running with, I don't see none of them here today.
None.
You just remember that.
Yes, sir.
All right. Today you've been granted with the special conditions Ms. Pearl Wise said that would be placed on you. I want to thank each and every one of y'all today for the hearings here at Hunt. Today we're going to adjourn. The time is 9:53 a.m. Warden Hooper, thank you very much.
Thank y'all. Y'all have a good weekend.
Thank you.
All right. All right. All right. Hey, listen, I was hopeful for him. Because it sounded good. Hey, sometimes jail is for rehabilitation. Sometimes it's for punishment, and sometimes it's for rehabilitation. And that young man started using a very serious drug at an early age, and yeah, he definitely needed help. So I'm glad he was able to get that. Hopefully, he don't have no issues right now in the present. All right, we're on to our next one. If you want to support this page, you can join a membership. You can send a super chat. You can send a donation through Cash App or PayPal at Wabbit Crime Network. You can hit the donation link at the top of the screen. And Nightbot is also putting a link in the chat. And don't forget to join the Wabbit Crime Network Discord. We are watching a parole board hearing. Inmate is up for parole, and he's in front of the parole board, and they will vote after interview whether or not they will grant or deny parole to the inmate in this case. Before the judges get to their vote, I will pause the video and I will put a poll in the chat for 3 minutes where the audience will get to vote on whether or not they think the judges will grant parole in this case. After the 3 minutes is up, I will read the results and then play the results of the judges to see if the audience was in line. I will be in the chat until then, and I will be back when it's time to vote. So let's go.
Mr. Alvin Roche. I want to thank you, Mr. Henderson, for being with us today. But if you would mute your mic while we're going over them, and we'll give you a chance to speak here in just a minute. Thank you very much. Out to that's Vernell Nelson, DOC number 91073. I interviewed Mr. Nelson. Mr. Warden Tigner was there with me. He was present during the interview. His parole eligibility was 8/4/2020 with a good time of 2/9/22. Also, the interview was on June the 1st at 10 a.m. He was sentenced with on 2/24/2016 heroin for 25 years, and on 2/24/2016 possession with intent heroin 25 years, and a firearm on 2/24/2016. Also during this time, I had a good interview with him, and the the warden spoke real highly of him. He started at his first arrest when he was 17 years of age. And he's got 3 or more drug crimes. And the time he served is 4.04 years so far on this charge. He is classified as a low risk. And on the day on his hearing dates, when I was talking to him, I went over all of his programs. I was really impressed. He had 810 credits of programs. If you look on your sheet, I could go over all of them, but if y'all can look on your sheet, he had lots of programs. It was really impressive for things. And I asked him about his physical health was good. He said his job service would be restaurant and food service. I asked him what he liked to pursue doing. He said he'd like to be cooking part-time in a restaurant until he gets his Social Security and draw his Social Security. And he's a medium custody. He's 66 years old. His last disciplinary write-up was in 2015. When I asked the warden name, he stated he was a good offender, no trouble. He thinks with his age, he would do great if he was released. And he told me, he said, now, if I go to live, he wants to live with Jana Nelson, his sister. He didn't know her address at the time, but he said that he'd already sent it to probation and parole. And the city he'd be living in would be St. Tammany, Louisiana. And he said it would be just him and his sister living in the house. Staff had good comments to say on his behalf. Also, the offender said his employment was, he was part-time cooking in a restaurant, and he wouldn't have any problem getting a job or transportation to any of these places. And he said he had good family support. And I asked him what some of his goals were. And he said, start drawing his Social Security and be with the loved ones that he's missed so long. And I asked him, where did he want to be 2-5 years from now? He said, just being with his family and his loved ones, drawing Social Security. And I talked to him about his community and family support. He had good family support. He had 4 sisters and 2 brothers and their children, and he had known some of it. He'd love to get to know. And I asked him what some of the barriers would be. He said he does not see any barriers now. He said just being with his family will be positive for him to stay with his family. I asked him about his plans for success. He said his programs of being away from home and being with his family was going to change everything in his life. And I thought it was a real good interview I had with him, and I'll give him my statement in a minute. At this time, you would, Mr. Alvin Roche.
Mr. Wise, thank you. That was a very thorough interview. I've read the PPI, and in that PPI, there were very positive remarks from the warden and the staff. He's done tremendous programs. He has a low risk assessment, and I'm pleased at the information that we got from Mr. Nelson, and I'll vote at the time appropriate.
Ms. Pearl Wise.
Likewise, I agree, Mr. Wise, a good interview. Did he mention his motivation for dealing drugs at age 60? What did he say about that?
Well, he just said he got with the wrong people, and it was one of them trial things. He wanted to try it, and that kind of got him stuck over there with drugs. But he said it wasn't something he wanted to do all the time.
Thank you, sir. I do want to indicate that in the files that we got, he did get a letter of recommendation for his compassionate care. I think it was dated 7/11/18, and he underwent hospice training, hospice volunteer training, which is really, really great. I think he got a certificate of appreciation in 2017 for the compassionate care that he's done while he's incarcerated. I just wanted to state that on the record. That's all I had, Chairman.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Norris Henderson, if you would unmute your mic.
How you guys? Good seeing y'all.
Nice
Good to
seeing you.
see you, Norris.
Yeah, good being seen, during these times.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, y'all all look healthy and vibrant. That's good. I think I'm more excited than Vernell, just to see y'all.
I hear you.
Yeah.
You haven't changed much.
Well, once you're in the box and you can't pretty much go nowhere, the only thing you're doing most of is shaving. That's all you're really doing.
Okay, what do you have to say on his behalf?
Well, I've been knowing Vernell all my life, and it's what you see is what you get. I mean, I listened at you, Mr. Wise, talk about your interview with him, and that's who he is. That's who this guy is. The sad thing about this whole ordeal was the morning that he got arrested, he was supposed to have been on the way with us coming to a parole hearing, and when we pulled up at his house and saw law enforcement there, we was trying to figure out what had happened, And so, we, the first 72, we're going to do what we can to continue to support him and just hopeful that he's given, especially at this time in his life, this opportunity to reconcile with, with his family, with the members of his family that he don't know, but also to, spend whatever life we have left, given what's going on in our country right now, the opportunity just to be home,
Yes, sir. Is anything else you'd like to say, Mr. Henderson?
Well, I mean, like I said again, all y'all know what we do to support our folks. And that's kind of like really what this COVID-19 has done is really giving us the opportunity to really amplify what we're doing, because now we have partnered with a lot of the motels and stuff like that don't have space. And so we have over 75 people that we've actually found housing for because of this. Even some Airbnbs that were not occupied, that people are more lenient now in a sense of leasing their properties to folks who are actually re-entering, but that's come through building relationships with people throughout our community. And we've expanded it now to even in Metairie, so go figure, for folks who know what what that looks like, but so it's been a real success in the sense of how we've been able to end this pandemic, has been able to move to keep doing the work that we're doing,
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. At this time, no other questions. I'm gonna go ahead and vote at this time.
So this one is different. We're not gonna vote on these. I'm gonna let these play out. If the people ain't here, we gonna just watch how these play out. So we gonna voting is postponed until further notice. So we're gonna watch how these play out, because it don't seem like they got the people there. I'm not sure how they doing this. This one is the way they doing this is different. So we just gonna watch these. Y'all put how y'all feel in the chat.
At this time, I'm gonna be voting to grant Mr. Vernell. One of the things I want to grant him to. At this time, I'm gonna be voting to grant Mr. Vernell. One of the things I want to grant him to AA meetings 2 times a week, online if he can, and also a curfew from 9 to 6 a.m. He's 66 years old. He's done good on his credits and everything, and I think he wants to just be with his family. So today I'm gonna be granting, because he was a low risk, AA meetings 2 times a week with a curfew of 9 to 6 a.m. Mr. Roche.
Mr. Mr. Wise, based on excellent programs, outstanding work he's done with the hospice program, a low tiger, age of the offender, and very positive remarks by the warden and staff, my vote is to grant.
Ms. Pearl?
My vote is to grant as well for the reasons that have already been stated. I would like to see some community service in some manner during this period. I know his age and there has been some health concerns, but some giving back to the community, at least 2 hours a month of community service, some kind of engagement. If my colleagues will agree to add in that stipulation. And that is my vote is to well. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I want Teresa.
Yes, sir.
I need to cut my thing off and reboot, and I'm gonna be coming right back in because I hadn't said anything, but every now and then the screen is just.
All right. Let's go to the next one. Let's see how this goes. I'm not sure. I think the rest of them, they don't have the people there. So let's see how they deal with this when they don't have the people there. So this is gonna be like a first for me. So
Okay.
Just a quick reminder.
I didn't see y'all that last year, but I just.
Mr. Wise, we are on the case of Marco Maldonado.
all right, Marco Maldonado. All right, if you want to support this page, you can join a membership. You can hit the Cash App, send a donation to Rabbit Crime Network at PayPal or at Cash App, or you can send a super chat. Hit the donation link. All right, parole board hearing. I'm not sure if we're gonna vote on these, but we about to see how they deal with cases when the people are not there, because I don't know how they dealing with this. So let's see how they deal with these.
DOC number 571769. We have no participants.
Okay, thank you very much. At this time, I interviewed Mr. Marco.
Right. So this is for educational purposes. We about to learn how they deal with this with the cases when they have no participants. So this is educational purposes. We're gonna observe how the parole board deals with the cases when they have no participants.
On the panel today will be Ms. Pearl Wise and Alvin Roche. This was one of the cases that was assigned to me. Marco Maldonado, he was 571769. Also present with him was Charles Todaro. He was an officer there and in the interview. His parole eligibility date is 6/12/2020 with a good time of 11/14/2020. The interview was at 9 a.m. on June the 1st, 2020. His current age is 32 years old. He's a third offender. He had a vehicle operating a vehicle on DWIs on 12/14/2017. On 14/14/2017, resisting an officer, which he was given 1 year for. During this time, I spoke with him, and his first arrest, he was 18 years old. He's got 3 or more felony convictions. He served 2.3 years on this charge he's on today. He's classified as a moderate risk with a Tiger score. And on his programs, he taken some programs. He did not get his GED. He needs some long-term programs, and with all of his credits he's got now, he should be releasing in 2020 with some of the programs that he's got. But I advised him he needed some long-term substance abuse program because that was some of his problem. He took a lot of programs, a lot of his program, anger management, personal development, and but I was still wanting him to take some kind of long-term substance abuse program. He stated to me he was in good physical health. He was a welder at a shipyard offshore, and he was working 21/7 to the COVID-19, and they brought him back in. So a lot of them times he hadn't been taking programs because he's been working on a transitional work program. Also, he said when he got out, he wanted to be a welder offshore. And there's law enforcement opposition against him because of the four DWIs. Mario told me he wanted to live with his mother, Mashan Marino. That was his mother. Her address is 1819 Marina Street in Lockport, Louisiana, in Lafourche Parish at 71042. I talked to the staff there, and they advised that he was a good worker, and he done anything you asked him to do. And he said his employment when he gets out, he wants to be a welder. He had real good family support. And as far as his goals that he wanted to do, he wanted to keep working and stay away from old friends, and he was going to quit drinking. He wants to be, one of the things he wants to do in his is build a relationship with his 6-year-old son. That was one of the things he said he wanted to do. If he's released, he said he wanted to be working offshore as a welder and be with his family. He's got very good family support. He said his barriers right now, he's changed his life, and he's going to be away from old friends and be with his son and work and live successful. He told me this is the first time he's ever spent 2.5 years away from his family. He had several credits that I seen that would put him out around September 2020. And I still advised him, I want him to get some long-term substance abuse, but with that, him getting out in 2020, he would not be able to get the substance abuse that I want him to get. So at this time, I'll make my recommendations here in a minute. At this time, you would, Ms. Parole Wise.
Thank you, Mr. Wise. A very good report. The only thing I want to add is that I wanted to note for the record, he graduated drug court on June 1st of 2015, and he committed the current offense on March the 27th of 2016. So he wasn't out of drug court over a year before he got this DWI. And I just wanted to state that on the record. That's all I've had. That's all I had, Chairman.
Mr. Roche?
I have no questions, Mr. Wise. Good report.
Okay. At this time, we have no other question. I'll be voting. At this time, I vote to deny. The reason I vote to deny, he has law enforcement opposition against him. He's got an out date in 2020 on a 4th DWI. So that was my vote. Ms. Pearl?
Sir, my vote is to deny. I agree with my colleague. My vote is to deny for the reasons already stated on the record.
Mr. Roche?
I agree with my colleagues this morning, basically because of a moderate risk assessment score, history of violence, and the other reasons mentioned by Mr. Wise. My vote is to deny.
Okay. My vote is to deny also. At this time, the board, if you would, let's go ahead and put it on. We'll move to the next one.
All right. So, man, they over here smoking people when they're not even there. So I guess this how the last couple cases gonna go. So we just watching them together right now. We're not voting on these. Y'all can put how y'all feel in the chat as you hear them speak it out. But we just got a couple of these. So they discuss it. without the inmate there and make the decision without the inmate. And okay, I think it's probably because of COVID-19. That's I think they did an interview prior, is what they said. Well, we'll head to the next one. And right now we're just doing a watch along at this point. So this is the watch along portion of my live. All right, on to the next one. We not voting. We just rocking out.
This is the case for
Yes,
Michael
ma'am.
Papillon. Papillon. DOC number 493988. We have no other participants.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Teresa. This was one of my cases that I interviewed on a single interview. Today on the panel today is Mr. Alvin Roche, also Ms. Pearl Wise, and myself. I interviewed Mr. Michael. The officer present was Sergeant Tuller. He's got a parole eligibility date on 9/24/2020. He had a good time of 2/17/2022. The interview was on 6/1/2020 at 9 a.m. Also, he is a third class offender. On 4/17/2019, he got a contraband. The contraband was for 1 year. On 1/9/2019, he got a contraband for 1 year. And in manslaughter, on 6/21/2007, he got 20 years. During the time I was speaking with him, he told me that that most of his crimes and everything was all drug related, and he had a felony conviction. He had 3 or more. He was set down as a low risk assessment, and during this time, when I was talking to him, I asked him, he said, well, I took some programs. I said, well, substance abuse, he needed substance abuse because he was sentenced 1 year to contraband on April 17, 2019 and 3/30/2019, and was sentenced 1 year on the contraband for drugs. During the time I was speaking with him, I asked him a few questions, and you can see some of the drug programs he had. A lot of them was back in I guess they would be back in 2017, 2012, but a lot of them was before he got these last 2 drug cases. He told me, well, he wanted to work for a J-Boat Electric Company. That was his current job. And if he was released, he'd like to stay and work for J-Boat Electric Company. He's a medium institution here. He's medium. His disciplinary reports was 6/7/18 and 4/29/2019. He has some disciplinary actions there. And far as official and public comments, law enforcement, and he had 2 victims opposition in this case. And where he said he would like to live was Brianna Chavez. She was a friend on 5648 Andrea Lane in Port Allen, Louisiana, and 70767. And it would just be him and her living at the house. I talked to Sergeant Tuller since he's been there November 18th, 2019. He said he's done well since he's been transferred to their facility. His employment, he's always done electric work, and asked him about his job skill. Would there be anything available? He said yes. He stated he had transportation if he got out. And also I asked him about his short-time goals. He said go to work and reconnect with his family. His long-term goals, being in society and working. And I asked him where would he want to be 1 year, 2 years, 5 years now. He said to have his own electric company. He has good family support, a brother and a sister. And his bears, he stated, He's been locked up 17 years, and this has changed his life, and he don't probably know any of the people he was out there running with before. One of the things I did, I had a good interview with Michael, and I advised him on his contrabands in 2018 and his charge with drugs received in 2019 or contraband. I advised him he needs to work on some substance abuse programs. At this time, I'll vote here after everyone has questions. At this time, Mr. Alvin Roche.
Mr. Wise, a good report, and I have no question.
Ms. Pearl Wise.
Mr. Wise, likewise, I have no questions. Good report.
Okay, at this time, I'll be voting. At this time, I think he's doing real good. He got those charges, and I think he needs some substance abuse. But today, I'm going to vote to deny. He has 494 days loss of good time, and he has law enforcement and victims opposition to his release. Mr. Roche.
Mr. Wise, I likewise too will vote to deny based on his 2 contraband convictions in 2018, 2019, a general disciplinary conduct unacceptable in opposition from the victim's family.
Ms. Pearl.
My vote is to deny for the reasons I already stated. He's in a good situation in the work release program, and that is my vote, and for the reasons already been stated.
Okay, today, Michael has been denied with strong law enforcement victims opposition. He's had a loss of 494 lost of good time days, and that concludes the case.
Man, so they over here voting on people. Nobody get to say any last words. Nobody get to oh man, so yeah. I don't think you want to be on these ones. I think they did it like this through COVID. They did an interview off screen and then made your decision on screen. I don't know. I don't think you want to be part of that. All right, on to the next one. We're doing a watch along. No voting right now. Voting is postponed.
Mr. Wise?
Yes, ma'am.
This is a case for Zacchaeus Quinn, DOC number 713740. There are no participants.
Thank you very much. At this time, this is one of our single interviews. It was assigned to myself, Jim Wise. On the panel today also is Mr. Alvin Roche, and Ms. Pearl Wise is on the panel today. I'm going to go over my interview, what I had with him there. At present with me today that day was a Deputy Edward Morgan. It was on, the interview took place on June the 2nd, 2020 at 11 a.m. Zacchaeus Quinn, 713740. His parole eligibility date was 6/4/2020 with a good time of 3/27/2021. He was 25 years old. He's a first offender. He got charged with armed robbery. Had 1 count for 18 years and armed robbery 1 count for 5 years. That was on 8/3/2016. His first arrest, he was 20 years old, and I asked him how many convictions. He said that was his first conviction. He's done 3.7 years on that charge, and he's at West Baton Rouge House Work Release Center. He is a low risk assessment according to our Tiger score on our risk assessment, and he had no other felony revocation hearing. And substance abuse, he's no alcohol and drugs. Some of the programs he's taken, he's taken a lot of programs, and it was counseling, reentry, money management, placement, employment skills, victim awareness, values and goals, anger management, problem solving, personal development, and victims accountability, parenting and parenting, and FDIC money, and thinking for a change, and understanding and reducing angry feelings. He took those programs. He's had good physical health. He's been a Class C trustee at the Transitional Work Program. He worked as a laborer in a restaurant, and also he loved plumbing and do plumbing work. Also, he's a Class A trustee, and there's law enforcement opposition against his release. Strong opposition against his release. Also, he is. I asked him about one of his parole plans and support for family support, and one of them he sent his parole to the parole board. He'd be living with his brother Dennis Williams in Baton Rouge, but he had already sent it to the parole board. Some of his things. His staff. He's been a Class A trustee, very respectable and good. Worth it. Never heard a thing out of him. Also, he was a laborer, and a plumber was his employer. And his work available, he said yes, he had work skills. He could get a job. He had good transportation. And I asked him what his short time goal was. He said to get a job and save his money. And I asked him what his long-term goal was, and he kind of struck me pretty good. He said, I would love to go back to school and get a PhD in chemistry, which I thought was some very good goals he had there. And I asked him what about his long-term, 2 years to 5 years. He said, live in Baton Rouge and try to own his own company one day. And I asked him about his community and family support. He had very strong family support. And his barriers, he said he had no barriers. And I asked him what his plan says. He said, this will never happen again. He said, I was young and this will never happen again. Officer Quinn, Offender Quinn, I had a good interview with him. Staff spoke very highly of Quinn and his work ethics. And I'll give my decision here after everyone speaks on this case. At this time, you would, Mr. Roche.
Very good report, Mr. Wise. Mr. Wise, Offender Quinn sounds like a very ambitious individual. And I will wait for your recommendation.
Mr. Wise, I have no questions involved in this case.
Okay. No other questions there. I'll be voting. At this time, one of my votes I would like to see one of the programs. He got good programs. I'd like to see him in the 6 months in the transitional work program with a curfew from 9 to 6 a.m. But I understand they're not transferring any to any work release facilities right now. So what my vote is going to be to grant him curfew from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Also, I want him to do community service 4 months a week, monthly, and that would be my conditions I would like to put on him. Ms. Roche?
Mr. Wise, my vote is the same with the same conditions. I'd like to see you also do some community service.
Yeah, I got him. Ms. Pearl?
My vote is the same for the same reasons you've outlined.
Okay, the vote is to grant to a curfew from 9 to 6 a.m. with community service at least 4 times monthly. And that concludes the hearings.
And that concludes the hearing. So we see how these are going. We got 2 more of these, so I guess we're gonna call these the speed cases. The watch along speed cases. All right, on to the next one. Here we go with the speed cases.
Mr. Wise?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
This is a case for Albert Vo, DOC number 450451. We have no other participants.
Okay, thank you. This was an interview. I done an interview on him last week on the 6/2/20 at 9 a.m. And today we're going to be, I'm going to be doing a single interview on him. On the panel today is Ms. Pearl Wise, Mr. Alvin Roche. My name is Jim Wise. I'll be chairing today. Present that day on the phone call was Warden Cochran and staff member Ms. Land. Also, inmate Albert Vo, DOC number 450451 with a full parole eligibility date on 4/3/2020. He had a good time date on 4/8/2021. And he's 39 years of age. He's a third offender. He was sentenced on 5/20/2015, possession with intent with CDS. Also, he was sentenced to 20 years. As I went through his risk evaluation score there. At age 20 was his first arrest. He's had 3 or more felony convictions. He's done 4.97 years on this sentence he's on. He's on a Tiger score. He's set up as a low risk on his Tiger score. His substance abuse, if you'll go down through there on his substance abuse, he's done Celebrate Recovery, workforce. He's a workforce in the welding program, anger management, cage and rage, and living in balance. I asked him about his physical health. He said he had no problem with his physical health. He said he was a welder and a restaurant cook. So that's a pretty good combination. And I asked him what jobs he would like to pursue, and he said to be a welder. He's a Class A trustee. He had no disciplinary actions. Just had law enforcement opposition against his release. He was going to live with Stacy Vo, his wife, at 4650 Washington Avenue in New Orleans, Louisiana, in Orleans Parish on a 70125 zip code. The warden was a very, very positive comments. Warden Cochran stated he was one of the best that he had with no problems of ever having him. His employment would be a welder. He can get a job anywhere, he said, and he's got a place to get a job. His transportation, he had good transportation. I asked him what his short-term goals was, and he said to get a job and see my parole officer, and don't miss my parole officer. And his long-time goal was to stay out of trouble and work a long time. And I asked him about his community support. He had good family support. And his barriers, he said, one of his barriers was his negative people would not be in his life, and he was going to keep positive family support. And plans for success, he said, to work and stay out of trouble. Mr. Vo had completed 380 credits. Also, the welding program in 2018, had been in a transitional work program since 2018. Warden Cochran stated he was very positive, one of the best offenders, and had no DBs and no problem. Also today, I'm going to give my vote here in a minute after we go through all of us vote. At this time, Mr. Alvin Roche.
Mr. Wise, no report, but I have 2 questions. Are you concerned about the violence in his arrest report? He was arrested 4 or 5 times for violent offenses, simple battery, battery on a police officer, 2nd-degree battery, firearm charges in 204, and another simple battery in 204. Did we talk anything about the violence in his history?
Yeah, I talked to him about that. He just said he was running with the wrong crowd and just been with a group of people and stuff, but he realized this little bit of jail time. He said that he's got to straighten his life up and be with his family.
Okay, I see why he completed anger management in 218.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, the last question is that I see he completed the first phase of living in balance and did not complete the second phase. Did he tell you why?
Well, one of the reasons why some of that stuff came up, they got him in the work release program and he is working. And a lot of times he couldn't come in and do some of those programs because he was working a lot. When he wouldn't work in one job, he'd be on another job. He was a welder.
So you feel sufficient enough that he has enough treatment that he won't have a problem when he's released?
I feel pretty positive about it, talking to the warden there, you know, the way the warden talked to me about it. He was real positive, the warden was, and said he wished he had a jail full just like him.
Thank you, Mr. Wise.
Mr. Wise, did he graduate from the welding program that he was in?
Yes.
Okay,
he
great.
Graduated from the welding program.
Great, that's all I had.
In 2018.
Okay, I saw where he entered it, but I didn't see where he had graduated. Thank you. That's all I had.
Yeah, he completed it in 2018. Okay, if no other questions, I'll be voting at this time. I'm going to vote to grant because on his assessment plan, he has a low risk to family. Also, he has good family support and good programs. And the comment from the warden was very positive from the warden, what I got. And I'm going to grant him to AA meetings 2 times a week, a curfew from 9 to 6 a.m.
Mr. Wise, my vote is
Mr. Roche. Mr.
the same for the same reasons, with the same conditions.
Ms. Pearl.
My vote is to grant for the reasons you've already stated, for the same reasons and under the same conditions you stated.
All right, today he's been granted AA meetings 2 times a week and curfew from 6 to 9 p.m. At this time, the board will be voting and we'll get back to the next one.
Okay, we'll see how this works. So one of the judges interviews them, then he comes back and tells the other judges what he think, and they question the judge about what he spoke to the inmate about, and then they decide based on what that judge thinks and what that judge says. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah. So we got one more, and then we are out of here. Thank you guys for all the participation. We are on our last one. And here we go.
Mr. Wise?
Yes, ma'am.
This is the case for Michael Wager, DOC number 392164. We have no other participants.
Okay, this was a single interview I was doing. I was assigned to conduct the interview. Today I'll be chairing. My name is Jim Wise. On the panel today is Ms. Pearl Wise and also Mr. Alvin Roche. But at this time, I'll go ahead with the interview of, I called and spoke with Sergeant Stokes, was there on the phone with us and during the time of the presentation. His parole eligibility date was 9/10/2019. Michael Wager, DOC number 392164. He got a good time date of 9/30/2022. The interview was at 6/2/2020 at 11 a.m. His current age, he's 45 years old. He's a second offender. He had an aggravated burglary on 12/13/2004, and he done 20 years on his aggravated burglary. During this time, I was talking to him. He's set up on the Tiger score as a low risk. He's been in jail for 17 years. He's had, he's done 14.78 on the record here, but he had some jail credits that gave him a little more time on his during his time. He's at the work release program in the East Baton Rouge work release, got a low risk. Also, he completed his GED in November 2010, a Steve Hall program in January of 19. He went to the Northwest Technical College in horticulture in 2012. And he's in present time, he's right now in the transitional work program. He completed his Steve Hall substance abuse program in January 19, long term. And then he's, if you can look over, it says other program, relationship to risk. He's done a lot of programs, which is great. He's got some good time credits and some more credits coming in. He is one of his job skills. He was a DC. That's what he's doing right now. He's DC at the DC restaurant. He's a grill cook, and his last history job was a cook. And he's doing, and what a job he wants to do is landscaping business when he got out. His disciplinary actions, his last disciplinary action was in January 2013 as a Rule 4. He's had 5 disciplinary write-ups in the 17 years. He's got law enforcement opposition against his release. And also, if he's released, he wants to live with Melvin Wagger, his father, at 2811 Oak Plain Dealing Highway in Plain Dealing, Louisiana, in Bossier Parish, and the zip code is 71064, and he'll be living with his mother and father. Sergeant Stokes advised he was a great inmate, good work ethics. You never knew he was around. He was a good offender during his time. I asked him about his employment. He said, I can do either one. I can landscape or I can be a restaurant cook. Also, he said he got transportation to work. And I asked him about his short time goals. He said, job and family. I asked him about his long-term goals. He said to own his own landscaping business. One of the trades he took is horticulture since he's been in prison. I asked him, where did he want to be 2 years, 5 years from now? He said, having my own business and landscaping. I asked him about his family support. He said, good family support. And he said his bearers would be his old friends but they hadn't been here for me for 17 years, so I'm not going to need them now. He said, I'm going to stay positive and focus on my work. During this time of some of the plans of Seth, I think it was a good, positive interview. He's done 17 of the 20 of his jail time. He's got good, positive programs. He's done over 345 days of credits, completed his GED program. Last DB was in 2013. He's low risk and he completed his horticulture. And there was good comments from the staff and Sergeant Stokes. At this time, I'll wait to vote after everyone asks this question. I'll go to Mr. Alvin Roche.
Mr. Wise, great report.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to add something for the record. During his 17 years of incarceration, he's done community service while incarcerated. he actually made toys while incarcerated for the gingerbread house in Shreveport, Louisiana. For the record,
Yes.
the gingerbread house is a place where juvenile victims can go and give testimony, and he should be commended for his work with that particular institution, because that's a safe haven for juvenile victims. Thank you, Mr. Wise.
Okay, during this interview, our electricity just went off, so I was froze up a minute, but I'm back working now, so we'll go ahead and try to complete this interview. Go ahead, Ms. Pearl.
Sir, I have I have no questions. I'm sure you've covered with him his plans to stay clean and sober, which is what I'm sure he was taught in Steve Hall. That's my only observation.
Yes. He's been there 17 years, and he went through the Steve Hall program, and at this time I was going to grant him to AA meetings 2 times a week, a curfew from 6 to 9 a.m. and community service 4 hours monthly. Could y'all hear me?
Yes, but Mr. Wise,
Mr. Roche, could you hear me?
Partially, Mr. Wise,
Mr. Roche,
but I will go over the reasoning when I vote.
Mr. Roche.
Mr. Wise, my vote is to grant.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I'm voting, Mr. Wise. My vote is to grant Mr. Wager based upon his completion of the Steve Hall program, a GED in 2010, a low risk assessment score, good programs, and he has served 85.
Electricity went off.
He has served 85% of his sentence, and he has done community service with the Gingerbread House in Shreveport, Louisiana. He used to attend NAAA meetings 3 times a week, do community service with disadvantaged youth, and follow up on all recommendations from the Steve Hall program. That is my vote.
Mr. Roche, my vote is to grant for the reasons already stated on the record. And I concur with the conditions.
Ms. Pearl, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. All 3 of us have voted, Mr. Wise. He had 3 votes to grant.
Staff, did we get all of that for the record?
Yes, sir. We have all 3 votes on the record.
Yeah, we got enough. Mr. Wise is seems like
Okay.
he lost power.
Okay, I'm going to adjourn. This completes the business of the Committee on Parole for June 11th, 2020. Time is 11:43 a.m.
Oh, well, that completes that. All right, we see how they do that procedure. Let's learn something there. We're gonna get out of here. I want to thank everybody for participating. I hope you guys enjoyed the cases that we overlooked today. And I want to shout out to It Is What It Is for those new emojis. Yeah, great additions. Great additions. All right. ready to go. I want to thank everybody that voted. You know, it's very important for the voter interaction for this particular show. So it's much appreciated. And I want to shout out to all the people that are members on this channel. Dove C. Lit, Thick Cut, Yvonne May, Tora Hayes, Mad Max 250, Sonya B, Draco, Toby Kai Wu, Shorty XOXO, T, Lovey Star, Roll Rich ENT, Queen of Three, Egon Breeze Block, Nene Faye, Sugar Bear, Lucy, Fats TV, Bree, Top Monster Gaming, Sheila B, Miss Eve, 27 Durin, Thad Tias, It Is What It Is, J Dub, Katana, Dana Maria, D Grant, Alif CJ, Kobe Knows, Distracting One, Gems Eye View, Long Live EA, Tesha Z's Highly Favored, Uncle L, Go Getter, Really Time TV, Sunrise 71, Trey Spectives, Steve A, Courtney Peach. I want to thank you to all the members, all the subscribers, all the viewers, everybody that supported the page. You are appreciated. And we will be back next time. Look out for the premiere of the grandfather who slept with his 8-year-old granddaughter. Atrocious. So he was up for parole. There's a premiere of that coming out. If you haven't seen that, you can check that out. You can check that out on the premiere. But until we meet again, thank you everybody for your participation and support. Have a good day. And make sure you join the Wabbit Crime Network Discord. Don't forget to do that. Take care.